Our Shopify print-on-demand brand just made over $100,000 in sales in just 60 days. And in this video, we're going to be walking through exactly how we did it so that hopefully you can follow these steps and achieve profitability much faster in your own brand. And before we go any further, first, I want to take a second to just hit refresh so we can all see that these stats are real. So there's always a few select comments. So here we are. This is July 1st to August 31st, did $118,000 in revenue. And over here on Shopify, refresh here as well, $117,000. And here's the ad account, refresh here, $44,000 in total ad spend. So we know that the numbers are real. And if you're like a lot of people, these numbers probably seem a little crazy and, out of the realm of what would be reasonable for a beginner. And the reason I'm making this video is to show that it's really not. And the steps that we follow to get from 0 to 10K are honestly way harder than the steps of getting from 10 to 100. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So running through the numbers that we had, like I said, $118,000 in total sales, spent about $44,000 in Facebook ads. And by the end of this video, we're going to talk about how we're going to be scaling this up for Q4 and laying out how we have plans to do $20,000 to $30,000 per month in profit starting in November and going into December. So the first natural question on people's mind is, what are we selling and how do we choose the niche? How do we build the site? All of those things running through people's minds. So let's take it step by step. So first off, in the world of e-commerce, the most important decision you have to make is what's your fulfillment model. So that's, are you drop shipping? Are you doing 3PL? Or are you doing print on demand? Me personally, I've done all of them, and I honestly prefer print on demand above all else for a number of reasons. But most importantly, zero upfront cost, but you don't have the downside of drop shipping in that all of our orders come from the United States, which is huge. We advertise to the US market by far more than any other country. So it's really important that we have that fast shipping speed, and all of our products are shipped and in a lot of cases delivered within the same week that customers are placing orders. Print on demand allows us to deliver high quality products really fast. And the third and perhaps most important point is it allows us to differentiate ourselves by creating unique designs. And that segues into the next question, which is, we're doing print on demand, but what product are we selling? There's a lot of different things out there that you can do with print on demand. And the product that we use is t-shirts. There's a lot of buzzy videos out there about saying t-shirts are oversaturated and they don't work anymore, and couldn't be further from the truth. Anybody who says that just simply has not looked at the data that there are literally billions of t-shirts sold every year. That number is showing no signs of slowing down. So there is demand for it. Absolutely. The important difference in why we don't sell on Etsy or Merch by Amazon as our primary focus is that on Shopify, even if the competition is increasing overall, like on marketplaces like Etsy, you're competing with people side by side. We build Shopify stores so that our competition, when we run ads, we're competing against people's like cat videos and pictures of their family. So when we're running traffic to our Shopify store, it comes down to three main campaigns. So we have our testing campaign, which is like our bullpen, basically just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, making new ads. That's where we basically just have fun and try out new stuff. Then we have our master CBO, the flagship campaign that is just running on and is really like the main traffic driver. In this case, to be fully transparent, I messed up and left the testing campaign running longer than it should have been. So it ended up being kind of our main campaign because it was doing so well. And now it's, as you can see by the ad spend, it actually gets way more than it should, but it runs consistently profitably. So I leave it on. So aside from this breaking the mold of the example I'm trying to make, this is roughly what we do. This is our bullpen, 5% of our ad spend normally. And then our main campaign that drives the traffic, and then retargeting is just getting back in front of people who went to our site but then didn't purchase for whatever reason. And then on the Shopify side, like what does the site look like? Obviously, could be a lot of like technical setup to keep in mind is what goes through people's mind, but it's really not the case. Our stores are extremely simple. Like Yoga Stay, for example, is a brand that I built and sold to a company called Open Store a couple of years ago, and just flat lay mock-ups of t-shirts. Very, very simple, basic sites that just convert extremely well. Honestly, even out of all the things that have been added, you can get a lot of output just from the simple Shopify theme. And that's what a big lesson or mistake that I made early on is that I put way too much time into the store setup and the design and making it it like really beautiful and I thought it looked really cool, and it just ended up not mattering at all. But we've seen the sales, we've seen what the ads layout looks like. Now we've seen what the store looks like. So let's talk about like what is it that makes all of this work? What's the process that we follow? How do we get to 100 and something thousand in 60 days in sales? Obviously, it doesn't just happen overnight. Also, obviously, that's not all profit. But the way that happens starts with choosing a niche that people are actually passionate about and not going so niche that you're only speaking to a super tiny audience. Yoga, nature, outdoors stuff, flowers, think like those kind of general topics are a really good place to start. And this kind of flies in the face of what some conventional wisdom is out there, like the riches is in the niches. Like I agree with that, but my personal opinion is that the way to find those the niches that have the riches in them, I hated that, is to start off broad and then niche down within it. So an example I'll give is History Tees, which was another brand that we did literally the exact same thing that we did on Yoga Stay. We started off with 100 different history designs. So all on t-shirts to keep things super simple. It's another mistake I see a lot of people make early on is they think in order to grow my Shopify store, I need to add a ton of different products. Everything that either Printify or Printful, whatever, has on their site, I'm going to offer it. That's really not what you want to do. The most important thing to do is just pick one product type, get really, really good designs for that product type. You can make a multiple seven-figure business from just t-shirts alone. Now, I'm not saying that's easy, disclaimer, but that's what we did. And bringing it back to the designs, we launched with 100 and we try to throw a bunch of different concepts or genres or sub niches at the wall. So when we launched History Tees, for example, we had 100 designs, all t-shirts, Gildan 64,000 through Monster Digital using Printify. We had like 5 or 10 that were like funny history designs, like one of which was like the sarcastic Lincoln 5-star review. And then we had 20 that were like blueprint art, 20 more that were like just historical figures, 20 more that were just like historical dates, a bunch of different ideas. We launched with a bunch of concepts, and then the next step, so we have 100 designs. They're not all just the same design. It's wide variety. And then we put about $100 to $200 in ad spend behind those designs to test them. And when we do that, we're then looking in our ad account and looking, okay, what is the cost per click out of all of the ads that we've run? What's the cost per click on them? And the benchmark number that we are shooting for is 50 to 75 cents. And this is by far the hardest part, is getting the cost per click down to that range. Because once you can do that, you have then proven out that people are interested in the niche. They like your mock-up, which all of our ad designs, by the way, are literally just the flat lay mock-up. It's incredibly simple. There's videos that we'll link below where I show like the exact ads and all that stuff. But the ads are extremely simple. But once you get the cost per click down, it shows that people are interested in your product. They're interested in your mock-ups. They're interested in your everything that's going on. Then it's just a question of how do we optimize the conversion rate? Getting the traffic cost down. Next thing is conversion rate. And that just comes down to following a checklist. Make sure that your site is optimized so people can actually buy. It's very formulaic. It's not anywhere near as nebulous as it is to come up with good design concepts like, the original challenge. Once you get the conversion rate up, which the full checklist is in the 21-hour course. You can go watch that somewhere around here. It's completely free. Go through this step-by-step how to set up a site like this. And then once you get the conversion rate down, then it's okay, how many people are, out of everybody who's buying, we're sending 100 clicks to the site. If 3 to 4 people are buying, that's great. How many shirts are they buying? We want them to be buying roughly 1.5 shirts, like roughly a $45 to $50 average order value. Then once we have that, bringing us back to the whole topic of this video, which is how did we go from just a concept with 100 shirts to doing over $100,000 in sales in 60 days? It's honestly the same process that got us to 10K in sales is the same thing that gets us to 100. It literally just comes down to ramping up the budgets 15 to 20% every 2 to 3 days. Because at that point we are profitable. We're running at like a 2.5-ish ROAS on Facebook. Then we start adding in email marketing. By the way, this cost of goods, as a disclaimer, is underreported. This should be like 10 to 15% higher. So this profit is around like 20% or 20,000 net profit. Actually, it might not be that. Let's just go err on the side of caution. Say it's like 20K. It's still solid, nothing to scoff at. But yeah, then we add in our email revenue as well. So once we have something that's profitable, doing a couple grand a month in sales at 2.5 ROAS, then it's just starting to scale things up. And that's where you start to get results like this. It seems crazy. like showing numbers like that, but it's really not that as far-fetched as you might think. By far the biggest gap is in getting from zero to your first even couple grand in sales. And then the processes that we follow, once we've dialed that in, we look at the cost per click first, get it down to 50 to 75 cents, US targeting, conversion optimized. Then we move on to conversion rate, get that to 2.5%, 3% ideally, average order value to like 45, 50 bucks. Then it's just off to the races, and it's increasing budgets 15 to 20% every 2 to 3 days, adding in email marketing. We're starting to work on our Google ads as well, and just dialing everything in. And then you just start ramping stuff up. And then you pretty quickly, I know it sounds reductive, you pretty quickly have a brand with like a 15 to 20% repeat customer rate, like a lot of good things snowballing in your direction, all just with print on demand, literally the same Etsy business model that so many people talk about, just shifted over to Shopify. It's a really great place to be because then you have all the customer data. You can sell whatever products you want. You can build the brand however you want. And there's no fear of getting kicked off. Like if Shopify kicks you off, which that would never happen unless you're like doing something illegal, you would just spin up a Wix site or a WordPress and like you have your whole brand back overnight. Everybody's still going to, you just move your domain over. You have your whole site right back up. You can't do that on Etsy. Etsy takes you down, you're gone. Or if Facebook bans you, it's annoying, but one, you can get the ban back. 9 times out of 10, it's just because like their AI auto banned you for no reason. And then 2, even if you can't get it back, there's other traffic sources and you can get new ad accounts, a lot of different options to get back up and running. So this is where I think, like looking forward to 2025, this is where I think by far the biggest opportunity lies for print on demand sellers is in building brands like these. Like there's no limit to them. Like we start off with t-shirts here, but then you can grow this into whatever products you want. Like expand the market to be whatever you want as soon as you have that foundation of consistent monthly sales. And I advise all of our students in WeScale University, make sure that you are not reaching for a 8-figure brand setup, meaning like tons of products, tons of like investment in like just branding and general look and appeal before you've even crossed like the 7-figure or better yet, the 6-figure threshold in sales. Make sure you are taking it one base at a time and then just reinvest the profits that you have and you'll start growing way faster. That's what I have for you guys. If you want to see more videos like this where we dive into the analytics and talk about scaling the brands and how we're able to get results like these, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know, where are you guys planning on growing your print-on-demand business in 2025? Is it Shopify, Etsy? What are you guys thinking about? And maybe I'll make some videos about those topics as well. So thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.